this thing up because it weighs more than my bottle does. It's all submaximal, by the way. Do we live in a submaximal world, by the way? No different here. Okay? Most everything you do on a daily basis is at a submaximal level. Can it be a maximal level? Yes. You might have to pick up something that's really heavy. You're in the gym and you do your 1 rep max. That would be a maximal stimulus. That would be a time when you're recruiting an awful lot of muscle cells within your muscles. But on a day-to-day basis, to walk, to talk, to eat, to drink, to write, to chew, to whatever, it's all submaximal. If I came up to you and I shook your hand, submaximal. If I came up to you and I shook your hand and I tried to crush your hand, then the tension that I might be generating in my hand might be at a maximal stimulus. By the way, what's the stimulus? Right now, I'm making a fist as hard as I can. What's the stimulus? Thoughts in my head are generating action potential, and I had a thought. I want to make a fist as hard as I can right now. That's the stimulus. Thoughts. Are our muscles under voluntary control? Is the somatic nervous system under voluntary control? If you see something heavy in the gym and you know that that's about as much as you can lift, you have a thought in your head, you walk up to that weight, and you start and you're doing it from your mind. That's what you do. Okay? Are we good? Yes? All right? Now what? So we took care of that. Now we move on to the types of muscle contraction. Okay? So again, it's a potpourri of stuff. It seems like it's not related at all. We're talking about muscle twitches in a single muscle, then a whole muscle, motor units, now isometric and isotonic contraction. What the hell do they have to do with each other? Everything. Everything has to do with that first page. Okay? It always goes back to that first page. So, 2 types of muscle contraction, isotonic, isometric. Let's do isotonic first. There are actually 2 phases, 2 types of isotonic contraction, concentric, eccentric. And what do these things mean? So, we'll just keep it simple right now. I'll take my water bottle. I want to take this water bottle and I want to move it towards my face. I just did an isotonic contraction, specifically concentric contraction. A concentric contraction is a contraction where the muscle gets shorter, okay? Contraction while the muscle is shortening. What muscle is shortening right now? One of them at least. Your bicep, right? When your bicep contracts, that causes a bend in the elbow, right? You guys have to know that, right? Don't you have to know movement of muscles? You have to test today? Okay, good. We're reviewing the bicep right now. This is what your bicep does. So, this is a concentric contraction of my bicep. This is an eccentric contraction of my bicep. Now, this looks like relaxation, right? Would you say that this is relaxation? This is contraction. This is relaxation. This is still considered a contraction. Why? Because there's still tension in the bicep. One other thing. In order for the concentric contraction to occur, muscle tension must exceed resistance. What does that mean? Let's say this weighs 1 pound. In order for me to do this, I have to generate over 1 pound of tension in my bicep. Let's just say 2. I'm generating 2 pounds of tension in my bicep right now, which allows me to move something that weighs 1 pound. If this weighed 1 pound, and I had a ½ a pound of tension in my muscle, would this move? It would now be what's called an isometric contraction. All right? So with the concentric contraction, muscle tension exceeds resistance. What's the resistance in this case? The water bottle is the resistance. Okay? And when the muscle, when the tension in the muscle is less than the resistance. So this was a concentric contraction. 2 pounds of tension in my bicep. Now, in order for me to move it in this direction, I need to have less than 1 pound of tension in my bicep. All right, if I want to move it back to where it was. So, tension in my muscle exceeds resistance. Tension in my muscle is less than the resistance. That's what allows it to come back. So an eccentric contraction is resistance exceeds muscle tension. This is a resistance. All right? Now, you can't, by the way, you have to know the movement of the muscle. You can't just say that moving this toward my face is a concentric contraction and moving it away from my face is an eccentric. You cannot do that. You have to qualify it by knowing which muscle. So I have it right here. This is a concentric contraction right now. What muscle is concentrically contracting right now? Tell me. Your tricep. This is an eccentric contraction of my bicep. This is a concentric contraction of my tricep. What does your tricep do? Extends. Bicep does this. Concentric, my bicep muscle's getting shorter. Concentric, my tricep muscle's getting shorter. Don't just go on the exam, see a movement, and go on autopilot and say that's concentric. Know which muscle it is, and know what the muscle does. You guys have to know that. This is ANP, so I'm assuming that you know what muscles do because you're learning it in lab. All right? So if you know what the muscle does, and you studied it, then you can get concentric, eccentric along on the exam. All right? So that's concentric and eccentric. What about isometric? Isometric is muscle tension equals or does not exceed resistance. Contraction in which a muscle length does not change. So typically when they talk about an isometric contraction, they always talk about pushing against something that's immovable. Like if I go up to this wall, or if I go up to this desk, and well, never mind. I thought it was like, bolted down. If I went up to the wall and I started to push on the wall, I'm not pushing the wall. I'm still generating tension in my muscle, but the length of the muscle is not changing. That's usually what they talk about when they talk about an isometric contraction. I didn't really give any examples here. I have like this picture here showing somebody curl the dumbbell and extend the dumbbell, and here's an isometric. I have this picture up because it's in your book. Doesn't mean to have a book. But let's talk about that. And it seems like they're mutually exclusive, right? You either have isotonic contraction or you have isometric contraction. Okay? They work together. Can they work individually? Yes. Do they work together? Meaning what? Do isometric and isotonic contractions work together that allow you to move smoothly on a daily basis? Absolutely they do. I'll give you one example that's usually fairly easy to understand. I want to walk up those steps right there. In order for me to walk up those steps, my muscles have to do something very specific in order for me to walk up the steps nice and smooth. So let's talk about my hamstring muscles and my gluteal muscles. So the muscles in the back here. In order for me to get up those steps, I need a concentric contraction of my hamstring muscles and my gluteal muscles. When my hamstring muscles contract, what happens? My knee bends, right? When my gluteal muscles contract, what's going to happen? I can lift my foot off of the ground. So in order for me to go up that one step, my foot has to come off of the ground and my knee has to bend. So my hamstrings are going to concentrically contract, my gluteal muscles are going to concentrically contract. You get that? Now I'm going to plant my foot on the step. For a split second, my muscles are not shortening and my muscles are not lengthening. They shorten my hamstrings again, my gluteals shorten to get my foot up on the step. Then my foot plants. And so for a split second, I'm in an isometric contraction. Then, if I want to propel myself upward, my knee is going to what? Straighten out? Okay? Then I'm in an eccentric contraction of my hamstring. So if I want to walk up those steps, and I'm talking about my hamstring muscles and my gluteal muscles, concentric, isometric, eccentric. Concentric, isometric, eccentric. Concentric, isometric, eccentric. They're working together, and that allows you to move. Okay? So that happens with walking too. When you walk, you have to lift your foot off the ground. It's the same exact thing as walking up a flight of steps. Concentric, eccentric, concentric, isometric, eccentric. Here's another thing too. I want to move this water bottle to my face. Concentric, right? Now what kind of contraction am I in right now? Right now. Concentric, concentric, what am I at right now? Isometric. I'm balancing, okay, the resistance. Concentric, isometric. Concentric, isometric. Eccentric, isometric. Okay? If you are holding something and it's not moving, if you hold a book in front of you when you're studying, if you're sitting in the front of the TV with a remote and you're frozen for whatever reason, that's an isometric contraction. Why? Because in order to hold the remote, you need to generate tension in the muscle. That's a contraction. And your muscle's not getting shorter and it's not getting longer. Okay? So don't just think about steps. I mean, I can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. All right, when it comes to movement. But again, know exactly what the muscle does. You can't get it wrong. Okay? Are we good with this right here? All right, now what? Muscle tone. What's muscle tone? I'm going to tell you what it's not. This has absolutely nothing to do with toning your muscles in a gym. And by the way, there's no such thing. I want to go to the gym and tone my muscles. There's no such thing. That person looks like they have better muscle tone than the other person. There's no such thing. You can be Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 70s and 80s, and he has the exact same muscle tone that you do sitting in your chair or a couch potato does. Muscle tone is exactly the same. When you're in the gym and you think you're toning your muscles, all you're doing is you're getting more muscle and you're getting rid of fat. That's why a muscle looks more toned. It doesn't get more toned. There's no such thing. Okay? So let's just get that one out of the way. This muscle tone that we're talking about, and everybody in this room has the same muscle tone, I'm going to assume, if nobody has any type of neurological or muscle condition, everybody has the same tone. All right? Again, I don't care if you work out or you don't, the tone is the same. What is it? It's the state of partial muscle contraction due to continuous stimulation of motor units. What does that mean? It means that if we look at these motor units, some of them are always being stimulated. Some of them are always being recruited, meaning that your muscles are always generating some amount of tension at all times. Under normal conditions, that's what's happening. And that's necessary. Why is that necessary? I'll give you a few examples in your notes. Okay, I don't. I thought I did. Why is this? Why do we need this tone? Number one, what it's going to do is it gets you ready for work. It's a primitive thing. So if you have an animal that wants to eat you and you need to run away from it, it's good that your muscles are already partially contracted. You don't have to contract them as hard to run away. Keeps your posture. Okay, that's another reason for muscle tone. It's for posture. Keeps your neck up straight, keeps your head up straight. All right? So there is a reason for this to exist. Now, oh, I have it here. Keeps your muscles ready for work. I guess I just didn't give you specific examples, but I just gave you a couple. Now, muscle tone can change. Not under normal conditions it doesn't, but abnormal conditions, pathological conditions, and let's talk about them. So let's draw a picture. I'm going to show you what an upper motor neuron is, by the way. So we already know what lower motor neurons are. Now we're going to talk about upper motor neurons, too. Put the cerebrum here. And we have a little something more in this picture. All right? So I'm just going to take a lower motor neuron. I don't know. I'm just going to take that out of the thoracic region. And there's our skeletal muscle. Right? Somatic nervous system. We're releasing acetylcholine. And if everything is good, the tone in that muscle is going to be normal because some of the motor neurons in that nerve are always going to be releasing acetylcholine. All right? We're always going to be generating some amount of tension. Okay? Now, and that's the lower motor neuron. We're going to put an upper motor neuron over here. That's going to synapse with the lower motor neuron. So this is an upper motor neuron. An upper motor neuron synapses with the lower motor neuron, and it has an inhibitory input, by the way. Okay? It inhibits it. It doesn't allow it to release as much acetylcholine as if it weren't there. All right? Now, we're going to damage the lower motor neuron. All right? We are going to develop a neuropathy. That would cause, that is what damage of a nerve is, correct? damage of the nerve, is